my boss, who was Adil Malia in Coca-Cola, used to call me corporate Amitabh Bachchan. I'm not found. I find this challenging in the upcoming HR professionals. If your gut says that I have to be in HR, get into it.
At mid-level, what would be your advice?
I feel team handling. I have found Indian managers.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another podcast of HR to CHRO program. And today we have with us Mr. Venkatesh, who has had 30 plus years of experience working with wide range of industries and companies like Max Life Insurance, Airtel, and so many other companies, Infosys, and currently he is CHRO of DFM Foods.
That's right.
So welcome, Venkatesh. Thank you for giving us time. And if I could start with your background, why did you decide to get into HR?
Sure. Thank you, Amit. At the outset, I would like to thank you for choosing me for this podcast, and I'm happy to share some of my perspectives which are biased based on my experience. So I would request the audience to pardon me if I'm slightly aggressive and with a lot of conviction about my views. Maybe you may agree, not agree. Let me start with the family background. So I come from a family of educationists, and my late father, Dr. M.R. Srinivasan, he was a lawyer first, and then was a very famous faculty in Chennai. I hail from Chennai, from a typical Tambram family, and he was a doctor in social justice, and he was a visiting faculty to many of the reputed institutes in Chennai, including CA institutes, company secretaries, etc. And my mom was a retired teacher, and she still lives in Bangalore, and she's deeply into music and spirituality.
Very nice.
And so I grew up largely in Chennai, and I did my BSc in physics. And after completing my BSc in physics in 1987, I said, enough of education. So if I have to make money, we are all from a
Obviously.
middle income group. So I wanted to come out of the matchbox life. So I said, either I have to get into politics, or I have to get into the film world, or I have to get into business. So besides not trying politics, because the conservative Tambram family will not allow you to get into politics, so I have tried my luck in the film world for about a year, trying to get into acting, which obviously you need a lot more time and endurance to pursue that, and I couldn't. And then I did business. I tried my hands in
So
business.
if I could stop you here.
Yeah.
So see, when I first talked to you, you told me you were about to retire in some time.
That's right.
So the image I had in my mind before I met you, would be of an old guy or old looking guy about to retire. And the first time when I saw you, so now I don't doubt at all that actually you were star material and you could have had a career in the film industry. So I don't know why you quit after a year.
Thank you for your kindness, Amit. I wish that should have happened. That would have happened, but possibly I was restless and
Okay. It takes time, yeah.
not persevering to go and make it a successful venture. But nevertheless, I got into business and tried my hand for 3 years, and I reasonably did well. And when I asked for the house as a collateral from my dad, he asked me to walk out because this was much against his will.
Correct.
And he said that having finished your degree, and I got an opportunity to do my master's in computer application, I said that I denied that, and I said I want to do business. And I did manufacturing, trading and manufacturing in enamel copper wires for 3 years. And I had taken a loan from TIC, Tamil Nadu Industrial Investment Corporation, to the tune of about 6.5 lakhs, then in 87. And I had a working capital loan from Bank of India to the tune of 48 lakhs. My actually dad fell off the chair because I had a lot of partners, and the business is done in its own typical way, and you spend 18 hours out in the market. He didn't like any of this, and the other thing is about, he said he's highly educated, and conservative Tambram family do not have boys going out and do business, which is not cut out for a Tambram family. So I did the business much against his will for 3 years. When I didn't get the collateral security with my partners, I felt I'm not doing justice to it. So I exited that business. And I agreed with my dad. He wanted me to study further. And that's how I went into Masters in Social Work. While doing business, I did my postgraduate diploma in personal management, which is an MBA
Correct.
from Madras
And
Productivity
industrial
Council.
relations.
Yeah, in part time.
Okay.
So in the evening,
Mhm.
evening course, and then after I exited the business venture, so I went to college to do my MSW and from DG Vaishnav College. So that was between 1990 to 1992,
Mhm.
and of course, while during my employment, I did my law degree, and of course, I was able to complete 2 years of my law while I was in Bangalore. Once I got transferred to Gurgaon, and I moved to Gurgaon, I couldn't complete the third year. But I come from a legal family wherein my forefathers are lawyers and judges, and my father is a lawyer as well. Maybe I'm the seventh generation lawyer if I'd finished my law degree. But because of the legal background of the family, I am quite conversant with the law as such, and specifically labor law, because I spent a lot of time in the industrial relations world.
Correct. Correct. Okay. So this is how. So how has been the journey? See, the reason.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't tell about my personal family background. And my wife is Rohini, and I have a son who'll turn 25 this year, who's finished his engineering. And we live in Gurgaon for the last 20 years.
Okay. Okay. So this is very interesting and intriguing because at that time, going against the parents' wish,
Yeah.
that too being a South Indian, a Tambram, where the pressure would be that much higher. So
Correct.
that would have taken some guts to do.
Yeah, I was possibly a very aggressive child and a troublesome one. And
How many brothers and sisters you had?
yeah, I had an elder brother, and he's
Okay.
no more. And
Oh.
there was a tragedy in our house, and we lost him when he was 16.
Oh.
And so there was a fire accident.
Oh.
But that's been so many years now behind us. So some of my relatives would say that I would have been a spoiled child, because my parents, being educationists, were fairly liberal with me in my
Okay.
upbringing.
Okay.
They always allowed me to think and debate with them, and I had enough freedom to do what I wanted. So this I would definitely credit to both my mom and dad. And though we are from a conservative Brahmin family, they felt that if he's not happy and if we force him to do something, then he's not going to be happy. So
Very
that was the
nice.
philosophy.
Very nice.
And so that's how.
So your parents having this mindset
Yeah.
35 years back
Yeah,
was a big thing because even
absolutely.
today parents struggle with
Absolutely.
acquiring this kind of a mindset.
I think that came because they were teaching, and my
Right.
mother teaching in a school and my dad teaching in a college, understood the
Challenges
teenage
of
mindset
yeah. Okay.
and youth mindset.
Correct.
So I think that contributed. And in terms of building accountability in me, that I should not bring bad reputation to their names, was on one side. And also bringing accountability of doing the right thing by inculcating the values of integrity, humility. All these things added to the upbringing and my personality.
This reminds me of that famous scene from the movie Diwar, where Shashi Kapoor is asked to catch his brother and he refuses initially,
Yeah.
but then he shoots a boy who's stealing a bread, and then his father,
Correct.
his father is a teacher, and he touches his feet, saying that I could have had this lesson only from a teacher.
Correct.
So yes, I understand.
You struck a very important chord. My boss, who was Adil Malia in Coca-Cola, used to call me corporate Amitabh Bachchan, because exactly the movie of Diwar. And I used to speak for the union and for the workmen, because you have to strike a balance between management and workmen. So you have to sell a package to the workmen as to how expensive it is to the organization
Correct.
and how valuable it is for them. and to the organization you need to go and sell to them how meager it is that you are paying these guys for the kind of value that they are creating. So this is the ombudsman role that I played. So at times I used to become over passionate and also have a very stiff debate with him. So he used to call me as corporate Amitabh Bachchan. So possibly I'm not the Sashi Kapoor. I would be the Amitabh Bachchan of Diwar.
Who was the real hero of the movie?
Yeah.
By the way. So this passion, I'm sure it would have landed you in many spots during the
Yes.
corporate journey.
Yes.
Would you like to share some incidents?
Surely. And it started way back when I joined Hindustan Unilever. At that time, I joined Brook Bond, which was part of the HLL, though I was recruited by the HLL team. And the assignment was in when you are a management trainee, you get the Bharat Darshan. So I was, so it was baptism by fire. So I was put into a place called Kanaan. And Kanaan is somewhere 45 kilometers from Nagpur. And a Madrasi going and handling two militant unions was the first experience I had. So it was the first 6 months was a nightmare for me.
I can understand.
Not knowing Hindi as much as I know today. And in a place like Nagpur, even Hindi is not acceptable because you need to speak the local lingo, which is Marathi. But after 6 months, the typical jugaad way of managing is what I learned very quickly and struck a good chord with the workmen. And things moved and we signed a settlement overall. And then at that point in time, I had a boss who was directing me. But the real tough situation was in Caterpillar, that was in 94 to 96, 97, or 98 possibly, the 4 years, 3.5 years I spent there. So where the workmen pushed the management to a corner and there was a strike and we had to manage the strike, and we said that the production will be done by staff. And for almost 20 days, we did the production and did much.
You all the machines and all you
Absolutely.
managed.
So we were manufacturing diesel engines, and at a negotiating point, because we got certified, I'm talking about way back in 1996, we got the ISO 9000 certification. Well, the union came and asked, saying that they have to be given gold coins. So they were asking for 8 grams of gold, and we said that we can give you 4, and they asked for 6. That was the final demand from them. We refused, so they stuck work. So they thought they can arm twist the management by bringing everything to a standstill. And I was in a very tight situation wherein the management was not fully convinced about what I was talking. Thankfully, there was a managing director called Ed Kutek, and there was a very tough finance head called Mr. Ramon. So both of them empathized with me possibly. He said, okay, Venki, tell me the story. What can we do? I said, let's have all our staff, because all these staff guys are supervisors on the shop floor. So they really have not folded their sleeves and gone into manufacturing the engines. So let's go and manufacture the engines and let's see how much we can do. And let's not be arm twisted and threatened by the union. So to cut the long story short, they used to manufacture about 8 engines per day, ship 8 engines per day, with an overtime of $1.5 lakh every month. And it was 100 strong workmen who used to work both in the machine shop and in the assembly. I'm including the procurement and the stores as well. So we did 13 engines without overtime. And so that is something that we proved, wherein our MD Ed Kutek also came with his dungri and started torquing engines. So that's where everybody realized their potential, and the workmen finally came back and they said they are willing to sign on the dotted line. And I didn't want them to come. At that point in time is where you need to be very fair to the workmen. So we didn't want to give them a feeling that they have lost something. Everybody has a pride and self-esteem. So we were very fair to them, but we were very firm in drawing up, eliminating certain bad practices and bringing some of the good manufacturing practices. So in the tight spot of being threatened by the workmen, they are going to hit me, and you have to do, some kind of a, I can call it a battle between two sides. So you have to endure it. And of course, there is support. You have the cosmic support besides the management support to endure it and come through it. So it's very important. I mean, those were some. Today, I can reflect back and say, "Wow, that was a great experience." And I've had similar experience in Coca-Cola as well when I was setting up the Bidadi plant in Bangalore, near Bangalore. So there was a huge strike with the contract labor, with different political parties supporting the contract labor and wanting to have a share in the vote bank of contract labor. Because in Coke, we used to employ roughly around 1,000 laborers during season. So at that point in time, when there was some IR struggle, it has a story to it. When there was an IR struggle, these guys went on strike. So similar situation happened, and I was successful there as well. At that point in time, Mr. S.M. Krishna was the chief minister, and he was very, very helpful. And I would say that's why I would call him as a CEO who really helped industry to evolve and do well. I mean, at that point in time. So that was another important milestone in the IR world. To come successfully, do what is important for the industry to flourish.
See, I think there's an important corporate lesson here, especially for the junior management people when they start their career, not only in HR. See, generally I do lots of these workshops, and people complain that they have a bad boss, or they have a bad culture, or this problem, that problem. But I think everybody faces certain situations in their
Yes.
initial
Yes.
career journey,
Yes.
and they have to endure, like you're
Yes.
saying. So it's a very important corporate lesson.
Completely agree, and I would like to. I think Mr. Gopalakrishnan, R. Gopalakrishnan, who was the chairman of Tata and MD of, or even chairman of HUL, MD of HUL at one point in time. No, Brook Bond at one point in time. Brook Bond Lipton, and also in HUL, he was on the board of HUL also. After HUL, he went into Tata, and he has written a couple of interesting books, and he has talked about the 4 A's in competency in his book. What does a CEO expect from you? So the first A stands for accomplishment. So when a management trainee, when an individual starts a career,
Correct.
so accomplishment in the world of problems and solutions. So there are known problems, known solutions, which is the accomplishment, the first A. And as he moves and becomes a first-time manager, then affability comes into play, where there are known problems, unknown solutions, and unknown problems and known solutions. And we can give examples which are known problems, unknown solutions are something like an employee or a customer faces, which is a known problem and unknown solution. Any customer problem is a known problem. Before
Correct.
launching a product, we
Correct.
know that problem is known. But unknown solution, unless you go and meet the customer, strike a chord with the customer, and bring solutions. So that is a known problem, unknown solution. And unknown problem, known solution is an employee issue. So
Okay.
unless you go and strike a chord with the employee
Very
and
nice.
open the employee up to come and share his problem, because you have to figure out how the employee comes to work, in what mood is he in. So unless you have a good interpersonal equation and a personal trust, or a trust between both of you, it's very difficult to get the employee speak up. So if the employee, he or she, is able to speak up, then you can figure out, hey boss, had you told me this, I would have given you the solution. So that's the unknown problem and known
Known solution.
solutions. So this is where the affability quotient is very important. So then when you move to the next level, when you become a departmental head, so then the advocacy is very, very important. That is the third A, wherein people who don't report to you, because somebody from the corporate office may come in to your unit. He may be much junior or she may be much junior. So, but they are closer to the power center. So they might ask lot of questions, trying to possibly audit your process. Now, if you have a ego saying that this person in grade or level much junior to me, what does she know? She's not even experienced. She's just passed out and possibly having 3 or 4 years of experience, and that's where your advocacy quotient goes for a toss. So it's important to engage, a corporate resource, and though she does not report to you directly, and engaging with them to ensure that you educate and dialogue with them on the questions or the queries that she has. And that's very important to build the advocacy quotient, even to handle any government authority or a union leader who does not report to you also is an advocacy. The fourth A is authenticity. So that's where the corner office CEO has to be. That's where you need to empathize with the boss or your CEO that he's alone. So his challenge is to what do you think, what do you say, and what do you do has to be it has to be aligned. So authenticity is extremely difficult. It's easier to talk about it, I mean, give yarn about it, but very difficult to practice. So I think the four A's are the typical competencies in layman's language, which are very, very important. So you can, in accomplishment, you can come out with different jargons of defining what is accomplishment, what is affability, what is advocacy, what is authenticity. But in simple terms, these are the four A's of competence.
See, I fully agree with this here, Venkatesh, because in my workshop, see, the first three A's is what I prescribe, that you have to take out time to build relationships with your colleagues,
Correct.
with your juniors, with your customers, and with your vendors or all the other stakeholders. And that is the biggest problem nowadays.
Correct.
People are either they don't have time. I'll tell you what my views are on or what I prescribe. The problem is why they don't have time, but they don't have time and they are in a rush.
Yeah.
So, it's like these are the top 10 things I have to do. So you go and do these top 10 things because they are the ones which affect my KRAs.
Correct.
And they don't even ask how's everything, is everything okay at home? Basic questions.
Absolutely.
And the primary reason is that people are very disorganized, and the biggest problem is maybe the mobile. Every day they spend 2 3 hours at night watching Instagram or YouTube reels or web series, and because that is the time the me time they have, they don't exercise. Like you said, you go out for a walk every day, and
Absolutely.
they don't do meditation, or
Absolutely.
they don't have time to invest in themselves, and that is why they are stressed because their life is not moving ahead the way.
Correct.
And it's taking a toll on the relationships that they need to develop.
Correct.
So these first three A's.
Yeah.
So how did you used to take out time in investing in yourself, learning, exercise?
I think I burnt my hand like anybody else in the initial stages. In the first 10 to 12 years, I was typically busy, running behind my boss, running behind the organization, and not taking care of myself until I also had a bout of acidity and developed acidity. And I, I recognized it much early because when you have acidity in you, your mind also does not think clearly.
Correct.
And you do not have the calmness in your personality.
Correct.
So it's important. I realized it, and intuitively I realized it, and I started getting into. I mean, while I used to work in Coca-Cola, there used to be a gym, and so I used to go to the gym in the evening. But actually, I got into yoga in 2007. So 2007, I started doing yoga, and so initially I was not convinced about yoga, but until a yoga teacher convinced me, and he told me, if you are not interested, you can leave it completely. Try it at least for a week. So I tried it for a week, and I said I'm not interested. But the next week I went again. So he said, "Why are you here?" So I told him that I have not done justice the first week because my mindset was not there. My mind had already made it that I'm not interested. So recognizing that is very, very important. So then I thought every day, whatever he was telling me was seemingly very challenging. But I thought every day, a fraction of an inch, let me stretch, and I should be satisfied that I did. I did make an effort. but that became an addiction. So that's how I got involved into yoga a lot. And then, you need to find time to it. So you need to get up early and start early and finish your yoga. And then I started having breakfast. And I said, I will never skip breakfast, even if I have to go late to office. And so those things you have to manage. And I ensured once I had a regimen of doing some exercise and eating well, then my I could realize my personality was transforming, and I was able to think peacefully.
Productivity would have increased,
Absolutely.
energy levels.
Absolutely. And you are able to break complex challenges into simple solutions.
Very nice.
So, thinking in a very simple manner and breaking that into elements and sharing with your colleagues is what I think a recipe for engaging. I don't want to call it success, etc. It engages you. I mean, people may say, I'm doing it, I'm not successful. Success failures are part and parcel of life. So we can talk about it separately. But what's important is, does it engage you on a daily basis?
Engage fruitfully.
Absolutely.
So your top 2 or 3 advice or recommendations to a junior management guy, what would they be?
I tell my son. My son is, as I told you, is he'll be turning 25 this year. So get up early. At least, if not at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, get up at least at 6. And it may be difficult initially, but push yourself and sleep on time. Because if you're going to keep watching Instagram reels till 12 o'clock, and if you're going to watch some movies to give yourself a break from the monotony of office, so that will take a toll on you, and you should reserve some time for it. We can talk about it separately. But however, sleeping on time and getting up on time is very, very important. And spend some money to go and check out on a yoga teacher. If not yoga, at least go for a walk, go for a jog. And even if you do, initially you may start with a kilometer, then slowly bring it to about 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers. Then it brings us you always feel a spring in your feet, and there is always some kind of energy flowing through you. And so that will push you to eat well, because you need to, when you dissipate a lot of energy, you need energy, so you'll feel hungry, so eat well. And then be organized and carry a notebook with you and write out what are some things that you need to do. So these are some very simple ways. I mean, there is no rocket science. All of you know it very well. So all of these guys will know it very well, better than me. So that's the simple
So I'm
recipe
an
for success.
I'm an energy healer. So when we heal people, so we tell them that you have to quit eating junk food,
Correct.
heavy food, and you have to start exercising at least 20 minutes a day so that your lungs get cleansed,
Yeah.
your pores open up because you'll sweat,
Yeah.
because otherwise the healing may not work that well.
Absolutely. I'm happy you do Reiki.
I'm a Reiki master, yes.
Wow, brilliant. So I read a book recently about Wim Hof method of breathing. So
Okay.
it's close to Reiki. So he talks about taking 30 breaths in and out, and holding your breath for starts with 1.5 minute and can go up to 2 minutes, and then again inhaling and releasing it. So what happens is, because of the acidity in your blood, the immunity becomes very, very low.
Correct.
Now, when you oxygenate your blood, then your immunity increases, all your inflammation in your body goes away, and it's an interesting book of Wim Hof. And
I'll definitely explore.
yeah, I practice it. It is also
Everybody should explore. All the readers should
absolutely,
explore.
and it is close to Sudarshana Kriya of Sri Ravi Shankar.
Okay.
And Wim Hof is a guy from Netherlands, and we don't need a foreigner to educate us on these breathing techniques. We have enough yogis in our country, and this method is brilliant. Read that book of Wim Hof Way of Life, and it's a brilliant book to read. and it's a very simple. He talks about three pillars. He says breathing and cold water baths and meditation. And
So do you
doing
also meditate?
absolutely every day after my yoga exercise, and doing the Wim Hof breathing, and then doing meditation for 15 minutes is a must for the day
So
to start.
people say, so I obviously give them solutions. So in my workshops, I advise them to meditate. I said, this is the best mind program. My workshops are on mind programming technique.
Brilliant.
So I say meditation is the best mind programming technique. I don't even need to teach you. So the biggest complaint that people have is that they can't meditate. So I obviously give them my solution, but I would love to know your solution to people like this.
So, one needs to get initiated in the meditation technique, because there is a process to it. So, you should find there are many places where you can get initiated in. It could be transcendental meditation, or you can go to Arbindo Ashram or Arbindo Bhavan to get initiated in meditation. Anything, any technique you can use, and at least close your eyes, or even if you don't get initiated, we are very restless. People are very restless. Initially start with closing your eyes and chanting anything, even if whatever faith or religion that you follow, and name the god that you like, and use it as a vehicle to calm your mind. So start with 5 minutes, keep an alarm on your mobile, and then slowly increase it to 7 minutes, to 10 minutes, to
Very nice.
then 12 and 15. So what happens is, to close your eyes and sit in a place for 5 minutes is quite challenging. You will have lot of thoughts rushing in you. Let them go. Let it go. Let the thoughts come. And any yogi who's attained a very high consciousness also, they also have a lot of thoughts flowing. So there is, if you reach a moment there is no thought at all while meditating, then you have become a Mahayogi like
Correct.
Vivekananda.
Correct.
It's very, very tough,
Rare,
and that's
yes.
the journey about. So let the thoughts flow, and at least slowly you will find that you have calmed yourself, and you will not then react to people, you will start responding to people.
So my solution, to add on to what you are saying, my solution to people is that meditation is not being thoughtless. My solution is
Correct.
meditation is the act of sitting down for meditation.
Correct.
So even if you sit for 5 minutes, maybe
Absolutely.
you'll have a quiet mind only for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. But even that 10-15 seconds is very powerful.
Correct.
So just sit down and just try to meditate. And see, top achievers, I found my journey, they use these basic practices
Correct.
which are not common knowledge.
Completely.
So Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, and so many other billionaires I have read about, that they meditate, they regularly meditate.
Correct.
So it's just that this information is not commonly aware.
Absolutely no. Some people say I go off to sleep. In Shavasana, when you do meditation, you go off to sleep. And sleep is the best therapy
Correct.
for healing.
Correct.
So if you meditate and in the process you go off to sleep and you get a power nap, it's okay. And
Correct.
you can get up in 5 minutes.
Correct.
And it's not necessary for you to sit down and do that meditation. You can lie down, and if
Correct.
that is making you comfortable, and it is basically to calm your mind. Because if you go to a ocean, as all of you would know, waves are on the superficial level, and as you go down the ocean, there is lot of calmness.
Correct.
And that's our mind. Our mind is also ocean.
Very nice.
So how do you go to a deeper level and possibly,
Very nice.
if possible, recognize your soul? And that's what the meditation is all about. It's a very, very simple thing. Once you start doing this, you can see how your personality transforms.
So this is one, waking up early and meditation
Absolutely.
and yoga and exercise. Anything else for the young professionals?
And I would say, take up some hobby.
Okay.
It could be Formula One,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be cricket, or it
Okay.
could be anything, or it could be gardening, or
I
you may
understand.
like something that, or it could be
Having a
coding.
pet, maybe that is.
Absolutely. Anything that engages you, which you like doing,
music or guitar or something.
Absolutely.
So this is for the general professionals in general. For HR professionals,
Yeah.
young professionals, what would be the top two, three work-wise, top two, three suggestions or
For HR
advice?
professionals, I would say uh, understand the organization first. And HR people think that if I ask somebody, why do you want to become a HR professional? They would say, I'm very good at people skills and I'm very good in relationships.
They
And
should be in sales then.
yeah, these are typical, responses I get when I've interviewed many HR professionals. I think every manager is an HR manager,
Correct.
because when he's dealing with more than five people, 95% of the time he's a HR manager.
Correct.
Only 5% of the time he is a functional manager. So an HR, yeah,
Interestingly here, so Mr. Mulidhar Kadaba, my CEO in Reliance
yeah,
Retail, so he told me his maximum time goes in managing people. And so
absolutely,
he had some 15 odd direct reportees. So he said the maximum time is motivating those guys,
absolutely,
hand holding them, and it's like
absolutely,
what you were saying. So even at CEO level, he
correct,
was an HR manager that way.
correct. So what I find missing, or possibly I've not found, I mean, I find this challenging in the upcoming HR professional is connecting to the business, understanding the business equal to your sales head, or irrespective of what level you are. You may be a junior executive, you may be a manager, you may be a general manager, whoever you are in the HR function. Please understand the P&L, and please understand the sales model, and who's your customer, how does the sales work, how does the frontline sales guy goes and makes a sale, and what is his life. So those are some things that you need to look at it like an entrepreneur. And if you have to start a business, and if you have to replicate this, what are some essentials, and how do those actions get converted into results or into revenues, and what are the costs. So if you start thinking as a HR, if your CEO has to start a HR department, what kind of money, or what kind of money is being spent in the HR function, and what is the return on investment. So you may say engagement, or you may say training, or you may say I'm doing compensation work, so many things, employee communication. Please ask the question as to what result it is going to deliver. And you may say HR is a very, which is not a quantifiable function, and you can't quantify things you do. I beg to differ here, and you can easily quantify whatever you do in HR, and put a metric to it. That metric may not be scientific, it can be judgmental, and but put a metric and start measuring it and start presenting it. You will get some pushback. It's okay. Don't be shying away saying that if I get a pushback, it will embarrass me, etc. It's okay. You make mistakes and you learn it. And when you fail, there is humility, and the aggression to learn becomes better.
See, the problem, the challenge that people say is that I don't have time. Like I said, they are busy doing Instagram at night.
Correct.
So see, and in my view, unless every individual has a vision of next 25 years that I
Correct.
want to become a CHRO,
Correct.
and I'll face some problems, time problem and bad boss problem or bad culture problem or whatever problems, but as long as I have a vision and I allocate time to realize that vision by taking out some time on the weekend and investing in myself and obviously taking care of my health and
Sure.
all. So, how to ensure or how to help people have that vision? And do they need a mentor at the initial level? Because unless you have a vision, then everything seems a big challenge. Or why should I take additional burden from my work?
I agree. And to be very honest, I didn't have a vision to become a CHRO, honestly.
Oh.
And it's not practical for Janta to have a vision to become. So we are all doing whatever we are doing by default. At least in my case, it was not by design
Mhm.
that I came into human resource.
Mhm.
It was by default that I came into human resource.
Okay.
But you have to, whatever you're doing, how do you, if you are somebody who have thought through, and most of the younger generations are people who are far better than our generation
Correct.
people. They have better thinking abilities, and they are very balanced. I'm learning from my son, honestly. And if you have a very clear thought that I
They're
want to become
sorted.
one, two, three, four,
Yeah,
five, then brilliant.
they're sorted that way.
You are superb. But if you don't have that, and if your gut says that I have to be in HR, get into it. And honestly, it should not take 25 years to become a CHRO. You can become a CHRO honestly in 10 to 12 years.
Very nice.
Yeah. And you don't have to have a vision for it. And forget about 10 to 12 years, I want to become an HR. That's only a goal. Now, you can think only about what happened yesterday, what is the plan for tomorrow, and this weekend is coming in. While you plan to how to spend your weekend with your girlfriend or with your family, and which movie I want to see or which pub I want to go, you can plan work also accordingly.
Correct.
And don't wait for the organization to send you for a training program. Allocate some money from your pocket to say that, hey, listen, I need to learn compensation,
Very nice.
or I need to learn job evaluation, or even if I have to write a job description. Typically, any HR professional will say, how do you write the job description of a sales head? No, let me go and ask the sales head, and let him tell me what he's doing day in, day out, and I'll note it down. Now, when you know the business really well, and you will know what a sales head is supposed to do, or any marketing manager, what is he supposed to do, or you can take about trade marketing guy, what is he or she supposed to do, or e-commerce. So start writing it, and now then go and validate with that person. So if you are able to understand the business, and if you are able to, or policies for that matter, so write the policy, whatever thoughts, don't bother about the English. If you are good in Hindi, write it in Hindi. Now you have Chat GPT. Chat GPT can convert
Help you, yes.
everything beautifully. Make an attempt to write all of those things. So if you improve every day, so if I take HR for example, so the entire talent acquisition may FCB, faster, cheaper, better solution. People know how to source from various Naukri portals and LinkedIn portals, and that way turnaround times and cost are addressed. But selection, do HR managers really interview? Functional managers who are being selected, or they only follow up saying that, sir, आपने interview कर दिया, आपने evaluation कर दिया, sir, can I close this? So basically, you need to be a equal partner with the functional manager to interview and write the evaluation. What was the job description? What were the behaviors you wrote you are expecting out of this candidate? And what is the evaluation that you have? Now, if you don't know how to interview, go and spend some money to do a interviewing skills program.
See, this thread leads to 2 or 3 questions. But before I come to those questions, I want to share that I did a workshop for Heidelberg Cement. So I was talking to their CEO, Mr. Joydev. So he told me that in the first 7 years of his career,
Who, Joydeep Matsudi?
yeah,
Okay.
in the first 7 years of his career, he did not save a single rupee because all his money was spent on weekends taking up courses, just like you said. And he said that this is how, because I invested in myself, became better. Like you said, that every weekend they should do something. No, but 2 3 questions I'm
Sure.
trying to put in. The first question is, people say I don't have time. How do I? So see, I tell them, I would like your inputs, that you have to be very good in what you do, so that if you plan ahead, you'll be able to finish what you are taking 10 hours, you'll be able to finish it in 7 8 hours.
Correct.
What are your views on this? How to have time? How can they create time?
So I used to attend some of the sessions of one Mr. Vinay Vinekar. He used to do art of living programs in Bangalore. So when somebody said that I don't have time, he'll say, why are you becoming a slave of time? So I don't think, I mean, anybody would accept that one does not have time. So if you have to plan your day,
Correct.
and you have to make time for it.
Correct.
When you make time for going for a movie, when you make time for going with your girlfriend around, when you make time for going to a pub, or when you make time for meeting your classmates, and
Correct.
when you meet your friends,
Correct.
so you will find the time and go and meet your friends. You need to plan your day, and you need to find that out, and there is no
Correct.
easy solution. And
See, my take is it takes only a few minutes every
correct,
night, 2 3 minutes to plan the next day, and it takes a few minutes every Sunday to plan the coming week. And if
absolutely
you do, all the CEOs do that. I'm
correct,
sure all the CXOs also do that.
correct.
Second question is there an inherent inferiority complex in HR people? See, like you said, that
Yeah,
they need to be at equal footing
yeah,
in hiring a person in
yeah,
the functional or business
yeah,
domain.
yeah.
But do we see that missing? Why is that missing?
Good question, actually. And there could be inferiority
Which should
complex,
not
or
be.
yeah, it should not be, or maybe there's an hesitation, or possibly a reservation to tell people I don't know. So the first step is to say, boss, I don't know. Don't shy away from saying I don't know, irrespective of whatever level you are. Obviously, even I may be a CHRO, but a sales officer somewhere working in Allahabad, or in Uttarakhand somewhere, he knows his market better,
Obviously.
and he knows the product, which product sells better in which area of his market. So knowing the entire sales transaction and learning from him is very, very important. Or for example, a payroll outsourcing person
Mhm.
who's doing the payroll. So you may be signing off the payroll, but actually the transactions that go into that sign off output sheet, only the payroll person would know. But knowing that, in the Excel, what has gone in and why is a number coming as it is, and being number savvy, you may say I'm weak in math, I don't know, numbers, so compensation I don't know. When you earn a salary, and when you pay tax, and when you spend, it's there is in the corporate world, there is nothing beyond addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division,
Correct.
and there is no differential calculus and integral calculus, right?
Correct.
So get into it and roll up your sleeve. Initially it will take some 3 4 hours, but spend that time to understand what the hell that number is telling you, and slowly you will get savvy with numbers. And unless you soak your hands into the dirt, you are not going to learn.
Correct. Very
And
nice.
you can learn from your subordinate, and because I learned it from my in the first job, they were I thought I become an assistant manager personal in the levers, and I was given a big cabin, and there were 3 people who were reporting into me, and they were at least twice my age, and if not more. And I thought I used to initially command them, boss, ye kar do, wo kar do. But they were also very nice, and they were far intelligent and humble than me. Finally, I realized that those guys run the function, and they commanded much bigger and better respect. Then I went to them, sir, please teach me. And he said, क्या हुआ वेंकट साहब, आपको तो जानते हो. I mean, still they were nice to me, and they taught me. And actually, when I was assistant manager, I was reporting into them, though on the organization chart, it showed that they were reporting into me. So, telling people that I don't know,
It's a very, I remember Kapil Dev. So he has said that he learned reverse swing from Manoj Prabhakar, who was
yeah,
10 years, around
yeah,
10 years his junior. So yeah,
absolutely
learning from your juniors, it's
correct,
very. So what have we covered so far? We have covered that you need to get up early,
correct,
exercise,
absolutely,
meditate, yoga, invest in yourself, and plan,
absolutely
and learn from everybody.
correct.
How to take up additional responsibility? See, how do you grow? Like you said that
Yeah,
so many things, you take up a course in payroll, for example, if you
yeah,
are in some other
yeah.
division, then how do you take up, should one go and ask his or her boss that give me additional
Nay, you
responsibility?
have to
No.
grab You have to grab opportunities. You don't have to go to your boss and ask मुझे opportunity दे दो. So, for example, in DFM foods, there was some challenge in the supply chain function. So, we have about 40, 42 CFAs. Now, there was nobody who was handling the CFA at one point in time. So, when we were talking about the structure and there was a lot of chaos because we used to have a coffee meeting in the morning at 10 o'clock. So, I said, let me put my hand into it and let me see, what I can do. I didn't know anything about a CFA, and I went and I started visiting the CFAs, and I just started seeing what are the transactions, started speaking to the dispatch clerk in the factory and to the CFA owners and learning from them. And then you get to understand what really happens in a CFA. So nobody told me, my boss didn't tell me that, yeah, Venki, please help. Nobody will tell you. So for taking authority in you, and you don't need anybody's permission, and authority comes with accountability. So first learn how to become accountable by getting skilled.
I understand.
So you don't need anybody's permission. So if you are able to do your job very quickly, and instead of going for a walk after lunch out, if you go and you need to befriend your colleagues, they are not
In other
going to
departments.
share, yeah, they're not going to share the skill very easily with you.
Correct.
So you need to build the trust,
Right.
right? So unless you build the trust Meister has defined it
And
as.
can it be planned when you're doing your weekly planning? Can it be planned that this day, this time, I'm going
Absolutely.
to spend with this department person? And
Absolutely. So because it depends what do you want to, it depends on what you're handling. So if I'm handling some T&A claims, so now if I'm supposed to pass the claim and I need to know why is this claim coming, so it can start from there,
okay.
right? So building trust with people, as Meister said, this I wanted to share with people. Trust is defined as C plus R plus I divided by S. C for credibility, R for reliability, I for intimacy, divided by S. For example, credibility is a skill somebody has, expertise somebody has. Somebody can get 8 out of 10. Reliability is you are able to deliver the same quality consistently every time a challenge comes to you. That also you can get 8 out of 10. Intimacy is about professional intimacy, sharing information. Like both of us, if you need to trust me, I need to trust you. That intimacy, I need to be open to share, take feedback from you, etc. So that also I can get 8 out of 10. But 3 8s are 24. But self orientation is reverse. The lesser mark you get, self orientation is about your selfish interest. If you don't have any selfish interest, right, it is going to be 3. So 24 divided by 3, your trust quotient is 8. If you have a selfish interest, if the other person believes that you are doing all of those things
Because
to
of
get
your selfish
because of your selfish interest, then he might give you 8.
I
So
understand.
24 by 8 is
I
3.
understand. I understand.
So building this trust with your colleagues and staying outside of the political dynamics and being neutral, not getting carried away by somebody telling about somebody, etc., and being an ombudsman as a HR professional. Because ombudsman is what an HR professional is supposed to be. As so, if you're an ombudsman, you need to have your ears to the ground. You need to be unbiased. You need to have information, filter information, because people give you different versions and the truth lies in between. So how do you get to the truth as close as possible to the discern the truth? How closely you can go to the point of truth is what HR person's challenge is, right from whatever level you are. Or if some employee calls, Arey, what is the policy on this? Your ability to respond very sharply to the point and resolve issues of your colleagues, that brings more trust and reliability.
Very nice. So you have to be good at your job.
Absolutely.
At mid level, as we move ahead, so team handling a challenge comes in,
Yeah.
or maybe sometimes people start working in silos. So at mid level, what would be your advice?
I feel team handling, I have found Indian managers sorry if I'm saying this, are not so good in managing team because they are always competing with their subordinates and peers. So, in my view, become a friend. So, if you are a friend of your subordinate and rub shoulders with him or her and work in the field and solve problems, you can share your problem, they might share their problem, and how do you genuinely help each other is what is the relation. And typically we do appraisals because of HR process. One might do mid-year review. Arey boss, HR guys push me to do this complex form and I have to do this mid-year review. God knows what happens, and this distribution curve gets normalized. पता नहीं है कौन क्या करता है. All of those challenges are there. But when you are a manager and when you are appraising your reportees, it's important to first take feedback from your reportee as to how bad you are in managing. And secondly, be open because you would have been blind. And if that person is saying because of this, I failed, it may be because of you that you have failed. So how do you manage that and be open to change that, right? Saying that, hey, sorry, listen, I goofed up here and I will give that benefit of doubt. And that's what is important when you seek feedback, when you are an appraiser. And when you're giving feedback, look at only what are some one thing that went good, went right, and one thing that went wrong. That's the most important thing. So look at it from a futuristic perspective. How can you make the thing that went wrong? So to make it right, what are some two or three things I would do? And how do I preserve or improve
What I did right.
whatever went right? How can I excel in it? That's the second point that one must look at.
Why don't people do that? Why don't mid managers do that?
Because there is, in the West, appraisal happens very informally on a everyday basis. So if you go for a client meeting, your boss says, hey, listen, I just wanted to share with you. So it's a very informal, trusting relationship that results in exchange of what I did right, what you did right. So now instead of looking at a mid-year review, or because appraisal happens once in a year and that too for 5 minutes, अरे ये तुमने ये किया वो किया ये किया. So it's not, if you once in a week, if you sit informally over a chai, or if you sit when you're in the market, you can have lunch or breakfast together peacefully, and there can be a debate. It can be a debate. But now, how do you ease that debate and build trust with each other is the journey.
Okay, see, my observation is that when I ask generally I do mind programming workshops. So using those meditation techniques, I take their brain to the alpha level where the brain activity reduces to 1/3. And then I ask all of them, where do you see themselves ending up their career? For example, as a CHRO or as a CEO, not even 10% do that.
Yeah.
Point I'm trying to say is that maybe 90% of us, and this is a report also which suggests, have lack of self belief. And could it be that is why maybe we are competing with our subordinates, that why should I because they don't trust us, because we don't teach them the best practices which are there. We don't teach them the best practices because we are scared that they might come up to our level. Then where will we go? Is that the reason? Could that be
Maybe. So you're always competing with each other, insecurity, etc.
insecurity?
So that could be a reason. But you need to reflect upon yourself and get out of insecurity is also some kind of a stress and some kind of a fear.
Correct.
And if you have to get out of this insecurity and share knowledge openly, it's okay. Whatever you know it, and share it. And if somebody has to take your, I mean, the other thing is, this person will take the credit of my job, my work,
Correct.
and that fellow will get. I want to tell something. If even your boss or your colleague takes the credit for your work and gets a promotion, gets a pay hike at your cost, so be it. And in that organization, possibly you would have failed, and the external market will recognize your skill.
It's very powerful.
Absolutely. And you will get another job.
Correct.
And you will possibly go past your boss as well.
Correct. And in doing that, in taking that challenge, you would have grown as
Yeah.
an individual. You would have imbibed some skills,
Correct.
some knowledge, which would have made you a better performer for future.
Absolutely.
Correct. It's
Absolutely.
very powerful.
Yeah.
And all the top achievers do that, I guess.
Correct. So battling your
So
self-esteem.
I also would like to add, like you said in the initial period, that as long as somebody is investing in himself,
Correct.
taking up payroll courses on weekends or whatever, that person, because he knows that by the time my junior comes to my level, I would have
Correct.
moved up much ahead, because I
Correct.
am. So when you regularly invest in yourself, you don't mind sharing that knowledge with juniors.
Absolutely. And be ready that anything can happen. Tomorrow, a junior can become your boss. So imagine a situation where your junior has done much better, and suddenly you go to an organization where you have to report to your junior. So,
Erstwhile junior.
erstwhile junior. So, I mean, you should be ready with it. And I think I feel leadership is also about following, your boss, however bad, however good he or she is. And leadership is, that's what I would, I have learned this from Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan from his book. Leadership is also about how effectively you are a follower, and
Very
how are
nice.
you able to dialogue. And even if you have a difference of opinion, I'm not a great example, let me be honest. And it's not that I'm, these are all some learnings that I have gathered. And it's not that because I'm articulating it, I follow it strictly. I make even today a lot of mistakes, and you are bound to make mistakes. And you also, your fuse, you lose the, you lose your temper at some point in time, etc. That can happen. But it's important to remember that how do you dialogue with your boss, with your peers, with your customer, and see how you can influence your point of view. And ultimately, it's very, very difficult to completely win somewhere. You cannot win any debate or any argument. So coming to a midway, opening the door for the other person to escape, and coming to a midway, and even if you fail, it's okay. But if you have kept the relationship, you have allowed the other person to introspect, and you can always
Very nice. So
get
senior
back.
level HR professionals at the senior level. What are few we have been talking for a long time.
Yeah,
So I've taken a lot of your time.
no
So
problem.
senior level HR professionals.
I feel dharma is very, very important, and I'm a firm believer of Bhagavad Gita and being fair. And you may be forming many opinions between the four walls, and you should allow for those opinions to be broken with the information that you didn't know. So I would only say, be follow the path of dharma,
Very
saying
nice.
that because you are privy to many lot of information as a CHRO or at a very senior level. How do you discern them and be decisive? Don't say that, Arey, I can't decide and I have to go and take approval from my boss, and have the conviction of taking a side. And B, when you take a side, you can be pushed with some other additional information. Be open to it. And when you get additional information where the side you have taken is wrong, don't have that self-esteem or ego, if I want to call it as ego, saying that, no, no, I had taken a stand, I have to stick to it. It's okay. I said, sorry boss, गलती हो गई शायद, मेरा assumption ये हुआ था, let me change it now. So that humility, having the principled dharma and humility, are two things that will enable you to be a leader. You may not be a very successful guy, very successful in terms of monetary or position or power, etc. But at least people will approach you, come to you, and
No,
ask for
and
your advice.
even if not money wise or position wise, see, I've seen people who are on the path, who take the path of dharma, their kids listen to them,
Correct.
their kids are good, their
Correct.
relationships are good,
Correct.
spouse relations or
Correct.
extended family relations, and they are much happier in life.
Correct.
The stresses, the amount of stress that they have, and health wise, the lifestyle diseases would be lesser
Yeah.
in such people. All
Absolutely.
right, so see, my one big takeaway in this
Yeah.
discussion is that every HR person should have business knowledge or should try to inculcate the business knowledge. This
Absolutely.
is game changing because I
Correct.
don't see many HR
Correct.
professionals talking about
First, you're a business manager, then you're an HR manager.
So quickly, I'll just two or three questions which I keep
Sure.
on hearing when I talk to people
Sure.
during my workshops. I have a bad boss. What do I do?
You can't change your boss, you can't change your wife, so you have to deal with it. So figure out how you can influence your boss, and that's a challenge for you. He's a tough customer.
Any incident you would like to share?
Yeah, I've had tough bosses even in Caterpillar with the finance head. So initially, possibly he had different thoughts about me, and I had different perceptions about him. Those are the filters you need to break. So you need to go and sit with him and saying that, sir, the way we are interacting is not creating results, delivering results, or it's not making happy. Maybe I am doing certain things which are not correct. Can we talk about it whenever you have the time?
Very nice.
That humility and courage and conviction of breaking ice is important. Even if that person throws you out of, so it's okay. Be persevering to go and build that relationship with that person. It's easier said than done. I have failed many times, but somehow you need to figure out a way of building a bridge.
I get a negative feedback and I'm gone into depression. How do I
Yeah.
get out of it?
So if you sincerely believe, and whenever some feedback is given or you are giving feedback, ask for critical incidents. And if you believe that the feedback is useless, write that feedback as has been given to you and tear it and put it in the dustbin, and don't take it very seriously. And if you believe that that feedback is valuable because of certain perceptions of your behavior, which though you didn't mean the way it has been perceived, then seek this opportunity to clarify. And if still the boss is operating from his own ego, let it pass. That's okay. But you know what you are, and even in the current organization is not able to recognize you, some other organization will definitely recognize you. So this too shall pass. So let it pass. It's
Very
okay.
nice. Very nice.
And don't be afraid that you are labeled as a low performer, or your neighbor. If you lose your job, and the neighbor will come and ask you saying that, boss, आज ऑफिस नहीं गया, क्या करने वाले हो? Every dog has its own day, and don't worry, you will come out of it and you will get another job. And maybe that is the time that you need to reflect as to what went right, what went wrong, how can I change this, to tide over this difficulty. So those are the times that you need to challenge yourself and find ways of coming out of it.
My colleagues, my peer group is moving much ahead of me. My friends are at a higher package. I think I'm stagnating. What do I do?
I mean, you can fret about it, and you feel there's a lot of negative energy that will come into you. It's of no use, because when you are possibly driving on the road, there are many people who will race past you to only see them at the signal. So be clear what you want to do in life, and even if others have made good money than you, but you are far more happy in doing what you're doing, be happy with it. So that's my advice, and comparison does not lead you anywhere.
Correct.
And have some spiritual anchors to whichever faith you belong to, and have a discipline of chanting whatever that spiritual anchor is, so that you can vent your frustrations during that meditation, or whatever your spiritual anchor is, to cleanse yourself. That's what I would advise.
It's very, very powerful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Venkatesh. So there have been some very good learnings, and the most powerful. We started with meditation, and we are ending with meditation, which I personally also believe is one of the most powerful mind programming activity which anyone can do. So thank you so much,
Thank you, Amit.
Venkatesh.
I
Thanks
too
for your time.
enjoyed it, though it may seem very long, and both of us have not prepared for this. But I shared my heart out, and I'm happy if this can help
It will
uh,
definitely help.
some
Yes.
of the people whom you
Yeah, yeah.
train.
And the larger public, the wider public. Thank you, Venkatesh.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your
Thank
time.
you, Amit.